you, Latasha, let me know if Michelle jumps on. I wanted her to go over something, and if she's not available, I will go over it.
Okay, I'll text her.
Okay, thank you. A reminder of the emails, events that we have this week, you guys. So today, I wanted to remind you, and we'll send out a text to everybody as well with a reminder. We have our all region team meeting today. So this is our monthly meeting with the Northern California and Hawaii region. So that's all agents, leadership, everybody's invited to attend that. It's great. If you haven't been on that yet, what they do is the format is they talk about what's going on in the region and they share what some of the offices and market centers are doing. And then there'll be somebody in leadership that will give something of value in terms of a presentation. Last time, Joey DiBenedetto did it on the disc, which was super cool and funny. He's hilarious. So that was very entertaining. And then what they do is they also interview top agents about what they're doing in their business that is allowing them to be successful. So you can get a lot of nuggets from them to implement your business. And the cool thing is today's meeting, which is, by the way, at 11 a.m. our time, it goes to 11, well, it's scheduled 11 to 12:30. So today's meeting, I'm doing the interview of a couple of the agents. There may be other agents as well that are being interviewed. But we're going to have Dean Otto and Todd Hudson on today, our agents, as guests, which is super cool. So they're going to talk a little bit about, we kind of had a pre-interview of the things that we wanted to cover. So I would highly encourage you to be on so you can learn from them and from everybody else that's going to be on that meeting, be an opportunity to network, see what's going on in the region, allow you guys to be connected, and support our people. So that link, if you want Latasha to put that in the chat, you can do that. It is also the registration link. You guys got it in an email last week. It said 3 events. That actually went out to the whole board. We decided to invite everybody. So if you have outside agents that you want to invite, they can come to the regional meeting today at 11, and then the link is also in our intranet calendar. The other thing is tomorrow, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew and remembered and were aware of, is we have a special guest for our West Side team meeting tomorrow, which is virtual, so everybody can attend, and I expect that you will want to. And Brady Sandal, who is the new director of luxury for KW, is going to be our guest tomorrow. That's at 9 a.m. And that's the West Side team meeting, which you can look at the link in the intranet, or we can put it in the chat box. So he's going to talk about what's going on with luxury. So just in general, an overview of the market. And this is a guy who sold over 140 million last year. Last time he came and spoke with us, I was like, wow, he sold 120 million. And then last year in COVID, like some of our agents had a good year in COVID, they sold over 140 million. So he's great. And he is going to share a little bit about what he does and his team does, but I wanted him to primarily focus on, and he did an event in Kona last night, which it sounded like went really well for those guys. He wanted to physically fly here, although with the testing and stuff, we couldn't quite get that to work. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to benefit, everybody was able to benefit from him. So he's going to talk about what's going on also in the Keller Williams luxury division. And so for those of you who are interested in either, in getting more involved in that, or want to do luxury that are not doing luxury, want to step into luxury, or you currently do luxury. Now, what is luxury? We can have a whole conversation about what is luxury. That'll take up the whole meeting. I'm going to just give you, as far as the criteria, what he's going to talk about so there's 2 levels, and he'll elaborate on this a little bit more. And I'm looking forward to hearing what they're doing. I do know that for agents who there's an earn-in qualification that is closing 4 properties in the last 24 months at 1.9 million or higher, which for us right now with our average price point, that's like, that's not even that far of a stretch in terms of luxury. Whereas, some of our luxury agents, their average price, they're like at 3 million and up. So 1.9, and now that's for Maui. It's different. So for Big Island, it's different too. Crystal, I'm not sure about Kauai. We'll have to look at that, but I'll I can check in on that, and Steve for Kauai, but so, and then Hilo side is also, it's lower. So we can talk about that tomorrow with Brady. And then there's also an opportunity now. You used to have to qualify to benefit from any of the luxury benefits. And now all of our agents can benefit from some of the luxury materials, marketing. So if you have a luxury listing, but you're not in luxury, meaning you hadn't earned in or had enough of the luxury sales under your belt, you can still utilize the luxury marketing for a luxury listing, which was not possible before. So they have opened that up to allow more of our agents opportunities to use marketing tools for when they have a luxury listing. There's stuff that's accessible on the intranet. So I do want Brady to talk about that. You guys will have an opportunity to ask him questions tomorrow. He's a great person to know and be connected with if you haven't already connected with him. So that's tomorrow, Westside team meeting. Those were two big things that I wanted to make sure that I talked about in terms of upcoming events. The next thing is, so I wanted to get a poll from you guys. Who has been attending the chat sessions, which are our Northern California, Hawaii region? It's special trainings with guests that we've had, like Zach Younger has taught, Bev Steiner. Who here has attended any of the chat sessions? Okay, Teresa has. I'm just trying to get a poll. We might send something out to ask you guys. We're gonna track your attendance on that, because we're debating whether it's something that we want to continue. Okay, Steve went to Zach's, want to continue to do, or whether we, are covering you guys with the training that we have. Because if we don't need to add that to our calendar, it is valuable and they're really good training classes. I just want to make sure that people are actually taking advantage and attending. Okay, so Joyce, thank you guys for this feedback in the chat box. That's really helpful. These are the things that I need to know. I'll give them that feedback too. So, and we could certainly probably do a better job at getting the word out to you guys when we do have a chat session, which is that special session with a special guest instructor. So we're just debating whether we should do that and continue that again for 2021, or whether we should put a hold on it and inspect a little bit more. Yes, thank you. Okay, so you guys have. So those of you who have attended, just put in the chat box whether you would want us to continue doing that for this year, or if you feel like the training that we have available is giving you guys what you need outside of that chat program. So that's some of the feedback that I'm looking for. Okay, so as you're doing that, another thing that I wanted to talk about, which I'm super excited, is we are officially, finally able to do our virtual awards for the company for 2020. So woo, Nicole. And one of the reasons everybody's like, okay, now we're in March and we're doing awards from 2020. And part of that was because normally we would do this as a live or some kind of a celebration. We've done live in the past, or we've combined it with like our holiday party. We've done different things, or we've done a separate thing than the holiday party. The reason, so we had to switch to virtual for obvious reasons this year. And well, why we waited was because we had to wait for family reunion to take place in February to know who was getting medals. And then our region had their own awards banquet. So we basically wanted to have all the awards combined and available. So we needed to wait till after February to do that. So we have all the awards, we have all the categories. We're going to be doing, we're going to be celebrating all of you. It's going to be fun. We're going to do like some games and some door prizes. And then we're going to announce everybody in the office. Now this is production awards, and it's also other awards. Like there's productivity coaching awards. There's like really fun, silly awards. So to that end, the other thing we're doing is there are some awards that are People's Choice Awards or People's Nomination Awards. So Latasha is putting together, we all met and we went over the awards categories, the final categories yesterday. I have a couple more to add, I know, Latasha. And so those are going to get added. And then we'll be sending out a survey to you guys, like a Survey Monkey with just some quick things and where you can type in somebody's name. And we're going to ask you guys who you would nominate in the company of your fellow agents for certain categories. So that survey will likely go out. It'll be by the end of the week. So it's Wednesday. So tomorrow or Friday, right, Latasha? Because I know you need a couple of things more from me before you can send that out. Right?
That's
Tomorrow or
correct.
Friday. So
Yeah.
tomorrow or Friday, look out for an email from us. That's a survey. It's going to be Survey Monkey. Is that right, Latasha? Is that what we're using to send it out? Do we think?
It's just a survey, not Survey Monkey, but just a survey link, survey.com.
Okay, so it's some different company. So it'll be a survey link, and it'll say something about awards, nominations in it. So you can look out for that. And then the awards themselves are going to be, so save the date, which actually the save the date went out yesterday, right? Did we send the save the date out yesterday?
Yes, I sent it out.
Okay, so you should have received yesterday a save the date, and it's for Wednesday. What we decided to do after talking to everybody about this was we actually, because you guys show up to this meeting, we figured we should take advantage of the fact that we have pretty good attendance in our weekly huddles. And so we're not doing a Pauhana or evening thing, also because not in person. So we're going to substitute our call, this call, on Wednesday the 24th, so 2 weeks from now. And that is going to be the start of our awards. So we're going to do 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. We're blocking out to do all of this stuff together as a group, where we'll be presenting the awards and doing all that stuff virtually. So make sure, and we'll send out a reminder, make sure though that you register. I think there's a registration link, right, Latasha? Although it's the same, there's a registration link for it.
So what I did is I called out, it says, every Wednesday is Company Huddle. And then I called out special event or special celebration on the 24th. So people know that that's the same link, but it's also just kind of helps them understand.
Awesome. And so bring your, we're going to also, you can do some fun thing. We were talking about like Zoom backgrounds or physical backgrounds if you want to decorate or you want to like wear whatever you want to wear. It's up to you. I was like, well, we could wear like black tie clothes at 8:30 in the morning. And everybody's like, oh, maybe not, just bring your coffee and wear a robe and whatever you want. Just, we may do a fun contest around that as well with backgrounds. Okay. Any questions about anything I just talked about? So today's region meeting and tomorrow's team meeting Westside with Brady. So today, Dean and Todd guests on our regional meeting. And then tomorrow, Westside, and then awards in 2 weeks. Any questions or comments about any of that? Okay. Is everybody excited? Who's excited about like all of these cool things going on? Yes. I love the thumbs up when I can't see your faces. It's great. Okay. So Michelle, I wanted you to talk about, we had the conversation about the RAM photos, right? Did we have that conversation about copyrights? No. Who did I talk to about that? Who did I talk to?
No, but I know you can't use copyrighted photos. You can only use the photos for the use for which you pay for.
Yes.
And that the photographer will allow you to use. And sometimes it's a time specific period. Sometimes it's a property specific period. And that's usually in the license agreement, the written agreement you sign when you hire the photographer.
Yes. Okay. So this was a specific thing. I must have talked about it with somebody else that maybe it was at RAM. So here's the thing that I found out that's going on. And if you're the person I talked to about this, chime in. My understanding is, so there's some litigation, like photographers are they hire people. So they'll take a picture, and this is for real estate photography too. So they'll take photos, and even if you have a contract or an agreement, you can't reuse those photos. And if you do use those photos on anything that wasn't agreed to, like Michelle was saying, they actually hire people to scour the internet that can look for, they have artificial intelligence that can identify their photos. And I can tell you that even RAM themselves got into trouble or I don't know if this was recently, but anyway, I heard a couple of stories about where, RAM used to, when you put a photo in RAM, and I think they maybe even still do, they would copyright that photo. It would have a RAM copyright on it when it went into the MLS. So as soon as you took a photo and you put it in the MLS, they added their own copyright with the idea
That's correct. There's a watermark that RAM has.
And this is the idea. The idea there was that either it's your photo or you got permission to use it. It went in there and RAM copyrighted it. And I see your hand raised, Keone, so you can chime in. Let me just finish my thought until you tell me if I'm on the right track, because you're on the board. So you probably know this or have heard this. So my understanding is that what happened is that some of those photos were actually not able to be used or permitted to be used. So there were people that now were coming after RAM, saying, why do you have a watermark on here? This is my photo. You can't copyright that. So I believe what they're doing is they are eliminating those copyrights from past to present and moving forward. I think from like 2017 and moving forward. So the point is, if you are using any of those photos still, or the RAM copywritten ones, which used to be kind of safe to use, don't use them anymore, because some of those are not allowable to be used. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. Keone, do you have something to add on that? Are you involved in those conversations?
Yeah, there's actually two lawsuits. One was just settled, and Lisa's correct on that. You cannot use those RAM logo ones. They're still on the internet because third party sites have used those photos. So if you do see them, request that they be taken down is your best defense. But we're talking big money in copyright infringement for these litigation cases, right? Like,
Yeah.
and 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 for one picture per picture.
Per image.
Right. So your MLS right now should be good. We got the vendor, the Paragon vendor, to take all those RAM logos off the photos going back. So your photo, you can look at the photos from the past. You might not really care. Be cautious, grabbing old photos and going forward. And just remember, don't take other people's photos. It's easy enough to drive to somewhere and take your own photo. Or you're going to pay. Because like Lisa said, they have software. All they got to do is hit the button and look for those images of these photographers that hire attorneys. And there's just attorneys out doing this. This is their sole job. So be cautious, because otherwise you're going to end up paying. And there's been warnings out on the MLS Paragon. I'm trying to get them to put it on the one when you open the MLS where those come up. But it is within Paragon. If you look down the middle part of it, there is the warning on there. So read that. But just take your own photos and you're fine. That's all you have to do going forward. But like I said, if you had listings in the past and you do see them, let the vendors know that they have to take those down. You can replace them with other photos or whatever. But and these are mostly lawsuits coming from shots that are kind of in nature, right? Like 7 pools, you take a picture of the bridge and everybody's ones kind of look the same, but these photographers are able to identify theirs, right? So just be cautious, because those fines, even when you settle, are still hefty.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know who I was talking to or how I get some of this information. Thank you for clarifying. And it's good, Keone.
No, but that was all, you said everything that was correct. That was all correct.
And I appreciate, one of the things that are good in these meetings too, for you and anyone else that we have on a committee at RAM or on the board, like I always look to you guys as representatives to let us know what's going on. So if you have topics that you want to bring up, I know you do generally, Keone. I know some of the rest of you though are on committees as well, or or if you're a board member like Sue, I don't know if Sue's on here, but it's really important because being that liaison and letting us know what's going on, stuff like that is critical, because a lot of stuff happens in those meetings that nobody is aware of. I promised Gina that I would also mention there is an ARIA event that let's see. There is an ARIA, I don't know if anybody's an ARIA member, Asian Real Estate Association of America, I think is what it stands for.
Yep.
And they have their installation celebration for 2021, and that's coming up March 18th. It's a really cool organization. I know Randy is an ARIA member. Is there anybody on here that's a member of ARIA? Currently a member of?
There used to be one in the past.
Okay, just because I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this event, but there are speakers. What it is they're really big on international markets and international real estate. So if you're really interested in what's happening in the rest of the world economically, what the trends look like in terms of foreign buyers and sellers, they talk a lot about that. I know it's good for networking too. I was a member for a little while. We sponsored an event that we were part of a sponsor of an event that they did on Oahu last year that Colette spoke at. But Dr. Anthony Chan, he's going to be the speaker, and what's going on nationally and internationally is the topic. How does this affect the future of Hawaii? And it's Thursday, March 18th, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. If you want more information on that, go to, let me just type it in here for you guys. And you could also check out the organization to see if you're interested in becoming a member or getting involved, because they have a pretty strong chapter in Hawaii. I'll put that on there for you, but I told her I would let you guys know about that.
I do have one item, Lisa.
Yep, go ahead, Michelle.
Is this a good time?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome, great. So I just wanted to refresh and remind all of our agents that, as Keone said, when you log into Paragon, there's some notes there on the front of the page. So every time you log in, you have an opportunity to kind of remind yourself. And one of the items on there is the clear cooperation policy. So we have had a few agents fined recently for violating the clear cooperation policy. And I just want to make sure everyone's 100% clear on what that means for you. If you have a listing and it is for participants only, you have the seller sign a waiver that it's not going to go into general distribution in the MLS, that once you share that outside of our company and our agents, any external release of that information triggers the login where you must then load that listing into the MLS. We no longer have pocket listings, coming soon listings. So I also want to caution you about using that language, talking to other agents or in your marketing. I had an agent this last week who sent out an email coming soon. The board is tracking all of this. Amy Johnson's going to be my new best friend. Every time my phone rings and I look, it's her. It's in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've been coming soon, pocket listing, and clear cooperation. For the most part, we've been able to resolve it with no or a reduced fine. But we're getting past the period of time where you can no longer say, well, I didn't know about it, because the first thing she does is call your broker, me, and say, Michelle, have you talked to your agents about this? And I said, yes, till I'm blue in the face. We talk about it at huddles, monthly team meetings. We've sent out emails. It's on Ram's page. They've held general membership meetings, of which there's another one this Friday. So it's important that you stay up to date by participating with your local board in their ongoing education, their meetings, but really around this topic, the point of clear cooperation was that everything gets loaded into the MLS in a timely manner, that no one can be doing off-market or off-cycle marketing and gaining an advantage over another professional. So just be aware that this is being closely watched. We don't want to be violating this rule. It's a national rule. It stemmed from the National Association of Realtors, and it flowed down to the state and local organizations. So please be sure you're following this, and don't be thinking you have a pocket listing or a coming soon. If you have any questions, please contact your BICs or myself.
Yeah, I think that's the key, Michelle, is to contact the broker, because in all fairness, it's not super simple.
I
Okay.
agree with
There,
you.
there are a lot of moving parts to it, and there are things you can do that we can do as long as we're following the guidelines.
Correct.
And there are things that can be slightly advantageous, but not to the point where they're considered a violation of the code of ethics, right? Because we don't want to go there. For example, you know, coming soon to MLS, like if you have a listing signed, right, based on the rule, you can't market it. So you have to get it into the MLS within 48 hours initially. Now, as soon as you market something outside, if you have a listing signed and you were going to put it in 48 hours in that time frame, and now you put a blast out that says coming soon to MLS, for example, and I'm saying talk to your broker first, that is, as long as it goes in within now a 24-hour period, right? Once it's marketed
Well,
outside.
actually, they don't want you using that language at all. That language is prohibited. The board will trigger it with the words coming soon.
Okay.
They don't want you
Just
sending
don't
email
use
blasts.
coming soon and don't use pocket listing.
Correct.
Even if you have a coming soon, don't use a coming soon, because that is that, right? Got it. I got it. Okay, so that's good. This is why we're having this conversation. I want to be clear because, you know, I want to know what we're disseminating so that all the brokers.
You can market to our company internally, but the moment that our agent shares that information, it triggers it. And with 300 agents, there's no way for you to know when someone shares it. And if you don't immediately load it in within that 24 hours, now you've violated the clear cooperation policy. So what I'm telling agents is, if you have a participant only seller sign off, use that, send it to Larry at RAM and load the listing. It will only go to participants. The exclusion to that is if your clients in the community have auto-saved searches, it will also go out in those searches. And so it's complicated. There are lots of moving parts, but the biggest violators are, I have a pocket listing and coming soon. And if you just eliminate those two practices, that will take care of 90+% of the issues. But see me or see your broker and we can assist you with being in compliance.
And Emily's asking about the resources, and you're right. We don't teach this in real estate school because it's not in a book yet. I mean, it's newer, right? Came out last year or a year and a half ago or something. I was involved in the creation of the documents, which I do think are still confusing. So they took some of my suggestions, not all. What I would encourage you to do, two things. When you log into the MLS, I believe the pop-up still comes up about clear
right there on the main page.
You can
scroll down.
Read that. If you log into Paragon, if you're off island, if you're on another island, we might have to get that information to you, which is fine. We can send it out. So let's make a note, Latasha, to send that out on Fridays.
It's in HIS too.
It's in HIS too. Great, Andy. Thank you. And then the other thing I would encourage you to do is this is what I tell the agents to do if they come to me with questions, is go into your library and look at those two documents. Look at the MLS participant, because there used to be the exemption form, and now there's two different forms, which actually give you the guidelines right on that form. Again, they're not the most user-friendly in terms of clarity. So if you have questions about it, ask the broker. But if you look at those two forms, one is called the MLS participant only, and the other one is called, what's the other one called? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. It's like, there's two though. There's two separate forms. One has to do with if it's an in-house and you're keeping it in-house and you're basically, I'm going to use the word exempting it because that's what it used to be called. So participant only, and then whatever the other form. Yeah.
And we have on this call, and Lee, I believe, sits on the MLS committee. So maybe Lee could speak to this for a second.
Lee.
I just put something in the chat. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just put something in the chat. I believe the new rule, and I'm not looking at it, I'm on my phone, is 1 business day. So the 48-hour thing went away. It's 1 business day. And so one of the forms is to withhold the listing from the MLS.
That's what
we did this recently with one that we were waiting for photos. The unit was occupied, so we had it off for about 7 days. We could promote that. Actually, for that one, we could not promote it. That was just like, that's just off. Then there's the participant only. So that's within our company.
Right.
You can promote it within the company. The problem is an agent says something to a civilian who says something to a Coldwell Banker agent, and now you're in trouble and you don't even know it.
Yeah, that's
So
what Michelle was saying. It's hard to
I would
control
kind
that.
of really try to stay away from using this at all, because it is so easy to trip yourself up. Just when you get a listing, get it ready, put it in the MLS. That's what's going to be best for your seller anyway. Best
I'm just
distribution.
looking, I'm just
Yeah,
looking
Mary.
at the forms. They're both 2 days.
Yeah, it's 2 days
Lee,
unless
They're both 2
Okay.
days.
it,
Yeah.
it is.
Thank you,
It is-
Marion.
It is still 2 days. Thank you for checking that. Unless you, I think where it's one, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, or Lee or Marion, my understanding is it's 2 days. Oh, so you're saying it's 2 days from as soon as it goes outside of the brokerage. It's still 2 days. It's not 1 day. Because I thought it was 1 day as soon as it goes outside, as soon as somebody mentions it outside of your internal brokerage, then it's 1 day. Otherwise, it's the regular 2-day rule still applies. So we'll get clarity
I'll
on
look
that.
at it.
Yeah,
I'll look at it
we'll look
today,
at it.
and then I'll be on the call next week, and we'll just clarify it. I'll have the forms in front of me.
Perfect. Thank you, Lee. That would be great. And
Lisa?
then yes.
And the MLS also, the HIS also has a withhold from MLS. So we'll talk about that form if you have that come up. We had another situation where innocently, they did put a sign on a property while they were waiting for pictures. And it was reported too. It went to me, didn't go to the MLS. And we got that taken down. That's another violation.
Yes, if
That
you
was
put a sign up,
advertising it.
that's considered advertising outside of your internal brokerage. Totally.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So one last thing, and then we'll do tell me something good, and then we'll let you guys go for the day, is in regard to this. So one of the things we were looking at, well, how do we, as a company, help our people with the, when we get a listing, because there's inventory so low. So we have this conversation with Colette, and what we are going to do is we are going to internally have, and we're figuring out what the best method of delivery for this is. And I'm welcome your feedback or input, or if you're a software geek or whatever, let me know, because right now I feel like a spreadsheet is the easiest way to do it. That's a shared spreadsheet. What I want to do is allow you guys to notify each other internally as soon as we have a new listing, as soon as we have it. I mean, within this 24-hour or 48, whatever that timeline is, that it's like our own hot sheet, right? So every day you can look at it and see that we now have a new listing, like internally our company. So you can reach out to that agent like immediately if you have a buyer, and get the ball going. And then, I mean, again, the whole point of this cooperation is to avoid us doing this for any long period of time, or keeping things internally in-house for a long period of time. However, if we have 24 or 48 hours to let you guys know and give you guys the opportunity to get in the game, we want to take advantage of that. So we're looking at doing it, a spreadsheet. The next step would be doing it on a website that we can, you guys can input it yourself. Or Sam gets notification, or Kathy Beckley. Like we're talking about different ways to do it, but just so you know, that is something we're working on, because we want you guys to be able to sell I mean, if we can help each other, that's great, and keep it internally, awesome. If we can't, and it's not in the best interest of the client, that's okay too.
I'm wondering if we couldn't load it into the MLS as a partial listing, not turning it live, but then email that partial listing out to Sam or someone who could then update the live spreadsheet.
Yeah, so let's bring that up in our executive team meeting and talk about the logistics of that. Okay, you guys.
Yeah, this is Lee. Just one last comment on that.
Yes.
You could probably use Google Drive.
Yeah, that's what we were
To
going to
do that.
We were just going to do a simple Google Drive. That was our
Yeah,
initial
that would be
decision.
pretty easy.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, tell me something good.
Lisa, Emily had a question.
Emily, yes.
with that.
Oh yeah, I did address about the clear cooperation, where to find the information. Oh no, for sale by conflicts of interest. Owning, can you pull out this kind of like owning rentals and selling personal property? Okay, so why don't we, Emily, can we address that And on next week's call?
If you're talking about advertising, Emily, it's look in your Chapter 99 rules, because it specifically says in there that
Oh,
you cannot advertise for sale by owner. You could say for sale, but you can't say for sale by owner. That
yeah,
implies
if that's what you're asking, sorry about that. Thank you, Keone. I think I misunderstood. So you're saying if you're an owner, you're the licensed agent and you're selling your own property. Yeah, absolutely cannot use
I
the
think it's
term for sale by owner.
1699.11, and then look under advertisement, and then I think it's B, section B on that.
Good job, Keone, pre-licensing instructor. Marion's raising her hand. Yes, Marion, did you have something too, or was that from before?
No, I didn't raise my hand.
Okay, okay.
He was giving me a whoop whoop.
Ooh, so maybe, I don't know if that answered your question, but yes, you can never use anything of the term by owner, like for sale by owner, for rent by owner, any of the by owner terminology when you're a licensee.
She wants to know where she can find 1699. It's Hawaii Administrative Rules 16-99-11B. If you Google HAR and that citation, you'll pull up the chapter.
Thank you. And if you can't find it, we can send it to you. Just reach out to your broker. Okay, tell me something good. I'll let you guys go.
I'll tell you something good.
Yeah.
Agents are asking specific important questions on how to be compliant and where the laws and rules are. That's something good. Thank you.
That is good. Oh, I have something good too. I can't believe I didn't say this. So those of you who are my friends on Facebook or you're on the Facebook page, you probably saw this announcement. Oh my gosh. You guys broke all kinds of crazy records last month in February, to the point where our office, our little office, our Maui, Big Island, like our little Hawaii people was #1 in the entire company of Keller Williams Realty International year to date. Like, that's how incredible your February was, which added on to a good January. So keep that up. I mean, it definitely was great for us and exposure and like for you guys. So
I have something good to tag
yes.
on that.
Yes, Joy.
So after many times trying the marketing with 4x6 jumbo cards, I got a little bit more concrete with it. And I actually reached out to a company that I saw a really cool Lily Kauai meringue pie photo. And I said, can I use your photo? And this is what I'm doing. And I'll put your website in. And they were thrilled. And I got a call from the guy across the fairway who is looking at listing his house.
I love that. Thank you, Joyce. That is so good. And I will tell you, farming conversion rates are crazy high right now compared to what they normally are. Like, I've never seen so many agents send out one farming, and I'm not encouraging you to only send out one because we want consistency. However, I can tell you that I've never seen so many agents send out one farming campaign and get a sale or a listing or a buy from that. Like the percent, like normally it's this consistency and you have to do it multiple times. We're getting them in one. So that's a great example. So if you are looking at doing that, pick your farm and send a letter, send a blast, call to action, and just do it.
Something good.
Andy, yes.
We had an incredible event last night with Brady Sandel. And if you have any opportunity to hear him at the West Side meeting, you should. He was very impressive. Everybody got a lot out of it. And we had a lot of people from outside the company, about half of them.
Wow.
It's great.
Great.
Was that a virtual meeting, Andy?
No, it was live.
Very cool.
We had about 25 people, but we were spaced in chairs 6 feet apart and outside. And it went really well.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you at the regional call today at 11.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Thanks.